So what do I do when my wife's feelings are just wrong? That's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of How to Deal with Your Wife's Irrational Feelings. So I've gotten some comments from men saying, if her emotions are irrational, then I should be able to challenge them. Because if I don't, then I'm agreeing to them and incriminating myself, and she's going to use that against me. Okay, one, why do you always assume she's going to use stuff against you? I mean, you paint your partner as such a malicious person. Why do you think your relationship is ever going to work when you're with such a toxic, vindictive individual? Two, whether her feelings are rational to you is irrelevant. You can't make someone else's feelings go away by telling them that they're unreasonable or untrue. All that does is either make them want to scream louder to actually be heard and understood, or they shut down and push you farther away. Listen, feelings aren't wrong. It's counterproductive to think of feelings as right and wrong. They're signals, they're indicators. It's like your check engine light in your truck. It's a sign that something might need attention. Are you giving your wife's feelings the same attention that you would to your check engine light on your new truck? Here's a question, men. You say that her feeling ignored or neglected is irrational. What you're essentially saying is it's wrong for you to feel that way, right? So let me ask you, who made you the judge? Who made you the decider of what feelings and emotions are valid enough for her to feel? I mean, you say she's too emotional. Too emotional according to whose standard? Let me guess. Yours. Here's another question. Have you ever felt sexually ignored by her? Was that an irrational feeling? If you brought that up to her and she said, "Oh, you're crazy. You're so emotional. Just be grateful for what you have in life instead of always complaining." Would that help anything? And I'm not just picking on men. Invalidation is something both spouses are capable of, and it's destructive regardless of who's doing it. So both of you, listen up, because this could save your marriage. So it's important to understand, why then do we invalidate each other? Because it's not usually that we're evil narcissists. We usually do it to either protect their view of us or our own view of us. We hate the idea of either feeling like a failure or of feeling shame or them seeing us in a negative light. So we defend, we make excuses, we tell them they're just being too sensitive, right? I mean, the problem's not us, it's them. They're being irrational and making too big of a deal of this. After all, their feelings aren't my problem, right? But in doing so, we don't protect their view of us. We don't protect the closeness in the relationship. We kill it, because invalidation is gaslighting. We're essentially calling their reality false. And that always leads to a breakdown in trust and intimacy and emotional safety in the relationship. And those are the main ingredients in every divorce. Your partner feeling seen and heard by you, you providing an emotionally safe climate for them, is not going above and beyond. It's literally the bare minimum of what any relationship needs to survive. I had to learn that the hard way. So when any partner comes to the other with a hurt or a concern or a desire, even if we don't agree, we put our phones away, we ask questions, we show them with our eyes and our body language that we care enough to explore what they are feeling. We get curious about their triggers or fears. We reflect back what we've heard to make sure we got it right. That's validation, because you're holding space for their experience. You're not correcting it, you're not arguing with it, you're just learning about it. Validation says, I care enough to understand. I care enough to explore your perspective and hurt, regardless of whether I agree 100% with all the details. It's still valuable and important to me because you're important to me. Do you know what caused complaints to go down in my marriage? When I started inviting and encouraging her feelings into a safe environment. When I stopped correcting or arguing or escalating and asked, what is she feeling? When I looked for the hurt underneath the complaint or the unmet need under the frustration. Do you have to do any of that? No! You can stay in a miserable relationship and just continue doing what's not working. That's also a choice. And if you feel like there was a miscommunication and you were being unfairly attacked, the fastest way to get her to hear your side is by honoring her experience, not telling her that her feelings are delusional or stupid. Exploring feelings doesn't make them worse. It gives them perspective and context, and it's within that sphere of emotional safety and feeling heard that the temperature of the argument usually goes down, and we are far more likely to be open to talking about a different approach or a potential miscommunication. And the final part of validation is repairing and reconnecting. That means both of you taking accountability for what you believe was your part. Were you disrespectful, potentially neglectful, hurtful with your words or actions? Take responsibility and say, I'm so sorry, that was wrong. And make a plan for what you're going to do next time so that doesn't happen. And then follow through. That's what leads to the closeness that you both want from this relationship.